And now you're about to hear the first of them. The first to ever do it down under. We're here to steal your thunder. Like the world's end down in Thunderdome. Welcome to a second home. All you need to know is G'day. This is G'day Gridiron. 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 Oh, we're not gonna let the boys have all the fun.
G'day Aussie Gridiron fans, and welcome back to the G'day Gridiron Podcast for 2025. It's deep in free agency week. We've had an extended time off, quite a few weeks, the longest gap we've ever had in between any of our NFL shows since we started doing G'day Gridiron quite a few years ago, just as Manjot and I. So we've had a good break. We're all refreshed. We're ready to go. 3 out of 4 of us are here. One is still away. He will be back next week with a whole lot of news if you're not up on the local scene to discuss with us. And of course, I am talking about Nick. He is still away, but I have 2 other very fine gentlemen in the virtual studio with me right now. Let's say a big welcome to the number 1 NFL analyst in all of Australia. He is our AGN coach with the most, and I'm of course talking about Brad Cummins. How you going, mate?
Hey, doing all right, thanks. That's a very flattering. I thought you were talking about Isaac there when you said the number 1 analyst. So.
I was trying to figure out how I threw it to Isaac, but I couldn't, so I just panicked. I just panicked and went back to you, mate, really.
It's all right. No worries. I'm doing well. I'm grateful to be here. Got through a cyclone. So, yeah, it's if my internet drops out, I'm blaming Alfred. So it's already dropped out twice today. I've got some students who still don't have power, so it's crazy.
That is crazy, Brad. You've still got people without power up there. I mean, it is huge. You have been in the middle of what was supposed to be a cyclone, which turned into a ex-tropical cyclone, of course, which is still bad enough because I mean the difference between Category 1 cyclone and a tropical storm, as it is, or a tropical low, is I think that their ballpark figure is the wind speeds are somewhere around like an extra 5 to 10 kilometers an hour. So that's like you're still way up there at like 90 plus kilometers an hour winds. In one direction, like a cyclone would be doing.
Absolutely, and like everybody here will tell you, it wasn't the wind. I mean, that was significant, but that wasn't the bad part. It was afterwards. It was the rain. It was just the amount of rain. Of course, Brisbane's just a flood area, so but I couldn't believe just how quickly everything went to poo because we had to take my son's girlfriend home. Drove across town, no problem at all. It was pissing rain, and then by the time we got back home, all the roads that we'd been on had started flooding, and it was just like, so yeah, it was wild.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, so it's nice to be able to sit here and talk some football with you guys.
Absolutely, mate. It's nice to have you. And of course, we say you guys, I haven't even introduced him yet. He's the guy that sort of joined our show late last year, put his hand up, and quickly became a regular. I don't know. I've got to find something to describe you for an intro, Isaac.
He was our number 1 free agency acquisition.
Oh, excellent, Brad. He's the number 1 free agency acquisition for the G'day Gridiron Podcast. It is, of course, Isaac Coonerty. How are you going, mate?
Good, thanks. How are you guys? And our fees will remain undisclosed.
Yeah, we won't compare the size of our contracts.
No.
We might compare the size of something else, but
you win.
No, we're not. We are not a publicly listed company. We do not need to disclose our payments. although they are minuscule, just like what's in my pants. It has been a big week of free agency so far. We record on a Thursday night at the moment, so we are about 3 to 4 days into the NFL free agency cycle. And of course, today in Australia, in the world, was the official start of the league year for the 2025-26 season. Happy birthday, NFL. And off we go to the races. But of course, we've had 3 days of legal tampering, which opened on Monday, our time. And it has been a huge week, as it always is. Last year, there seemed to be some massive things going on. This year, there's some big numbers being thrown around, but they seem to be re-signings or contract extensions. But there are still some very big and important, I guess, free agency signings that have been going on, and 1 or 2 trades as well. So we're just going to I think throw some stuff at the wall and see what sticks tonight. We've got no real actual plan. Figured it. Just ask the boys what has what's perked your ears up. What's really sort of got you interested so far in this free agency cycle. Brad, what's tickled your fancy so far?
Well, it's something that I don't really like, seeing as how my Cowboys are in the NFC East, but it's Washington. I think they're just demonstrating that they are all in on the Jaden Daniels and the rookie contracts. So you saw it when they picked up Tunsil, when they traded for Tunsil. I think that just said, okay, we're in this to win it, and they're tough. They are going to be tough. And again, it just shows you how, I don't want to say out of balance, but just how unique that whole rookie quarterback contract thing is. That teams are just, when they've got a rookie quarterback contract, they'll throw everything at it. We saw it with Houston. We're seeing it with Washington now. So we saw it with San Francisco. It's just the new NFL and the way things are operating. So I think it's really intriguing, all the moves they've made. They're bringing in a lot of 49ers, ex-49ers and stuff. So it's as a Cowboys fan, I don't like it. As a football fan, I think it's exciting.
Yeah, and of course the big ones, I guess for the Commanders, while we're there, you mentioned they brought in a couple of 49ers, and that is, of course, Deebo Samuel, who they signed for, they traded for, and he has a year left on his contract. So I think that's actually a great move. I love that move. Can Deebo still play the guitar? Is he out there? You get him with sort of 2 years, so you got this year plus next, so you can sort of see, I guess, if he works out. If it doesn't work out, you're really not in it for that much. You don't own. I mean, they're taking on all of his contract. I think it was $17.5 million. So you're not really in it for that much if it doesn't work out. And if it does work out, huge upside. Deebo Samuel and Scary Terry together are a very, very interesting prospect. Laramie Tunsil, they traded the Texans for Laramie Tunsil in what was a very interesting trade. There was a few picks going on there. So he's got 2 years remaining on his contract as well. I think they pick up all of that, the $42.7 million contract in that one. Javon Kinlaw, they picked up. They gave him a 3-year, $45 million contract.
That was a big one in my opinion. I think just getting that run defense and getting a legitimate stopper in there. He's gonna, I think, make a good difference. And I didn't think that contract is egregious.
No.
So, yeah.
No, 3 years, 45 for a defensive tackle is actually really good at the moment.
Yeah, for somebody who's got some good upside.
Yeah, I think because the DTs have really sort of, I think they've won pretty well in this free agency period so far. They've really come out on the right side.
And the thing about Kinlaw is He's only 27. I really thought he was a lot older, but he's not. So he's still got, good 4 or 5 years left in him.
Re-signed some of their guys as well. Just 1-year contracts to Bobby Wagner, Zach Ertz.
The thing,
Marcus
the 1-year
Mariota.
contracts are the good thing there. Like, they're not tied down for years and years. So they're maximising the most of that rookie contract.
I really like it, actually, that they gave Zach Ertz in particular just a 1-year contract. They re-signed one of their backup tight ends, John Bates, for 3. It doesn't really have the price in this doc that I'm looking at, but yeah, I like the fact that they haven't tied themselves massively to Zach Ertz.
We've got a decent rookie tight end, or rookie from last year tight end, Ben Sinnott there as well, so
Yeah.
he'd still be on a rookie contract as well.
Yeah. The reason I really love
he's
that
been-
too, yeah, go Brad.
I was just say Senate has been a bit of a disappointment. I think Ertz is just that's the thing, we've talked about it before on previous podcasts. Tight end is one of those positions where, generally speaking, the bulk of guys, unless you're a freak, the bulk of guys take a while to get used to playing. It's like linebacker and tight end take a while for guys to get used to it. So Ertz is the type of guy you want with a young tight end, because apparently he's just a great locker room guy, and so that, I think, is going to be a real strength of their team, is that tight end position.
Yeah. So I kind of like that, the 1 year for Ertz. And as you said, Isaac, they got Sino there as well, which is really good. But also, this particular draft class, there are quite a few really, really decent tight ends in amongst that lot as well. So you could, with a lot of, and Washington have got a stupid amount of picks in really good spots as well in the draft. So you could easily just spend one of those later round ones, the third, fourth, on another backup tight end and take another swing, maybe someone that could pair with Ben Sano going forward, And don't tie yourself to Zach Ertz just in case. I really like that, Brad. It was good. That's a good mention. Yeah, so you're right, Brad. Interesting year for them. I do like that they've sort of surrounded themselves, or surrounded, rookie QB in that way, and pushed the boundary a little bit more. I do worry that they'll end up in the Houston mold of last season. Though,
Take a step back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm worried for that with Daniels, the CJ Stroud treatment that happened. He regressed a bit from his rookie season, so it'll be an interesting one to watch, that one, to see if he keeps up that high level.
Yeah, and so it's interesting, the parallels here, in the sense of, Houston trades away their best left tackle. That was the biggest problem, and that was arguably why Stroud struggled so much, was the offensive line, and yet now they're getting rid of their best offensive tackle. So I don't get it if I'm Houston, if from that perspective. Like, their defense is going to be amazing, I think. That was going to be legit, but they did not do Stroud any favors. And we've seen time and time again, young quarterbacks need a good offensive line. All you have to do is look at Sam Darnold. He had just absolute horrible stuff in front of him, and everybody thought he was a complete bust. He goes to Minnesota, has a good line, and look what he does. He resurrects his career. So I really don't get it, what Houston is doing in that regard.
I really like that trade for the Commanders more than anything. And I don't know whether you look at it, but the Commanders got Tunsil and a 4th rounder for this year from Houston, and Houston got back a 3rd and a 7th for this year, and a 2nd and a 4th for next year. So I don't know. I almost feel like the Commanders really won out of that trade more than anything. The reality is they've sort of did a pick swap for a 3rd and a 4th, so they've moved back around, picked up a player for a 7th round, and then a couple of, the 2nd, I suppose, is worth a fair bit next year. But if the Commanders have another really good season, get into the playoffs again, they were a play or two away from a championship, then that second rounder is still going to be bottom of the second anyway. So I kind of like the trade. I like the trade for the Commanders. That was really good, I thought. I really was. When I saw that come up, I was like, ooh, I don't know whether that's a win for the Texans or not, or whether they just got fleeced. Isaac, what sort of stuck out to you so far?
Look, I'm going
to
stick with the Rams and them getting Devontae Adams. I think they overpaid him too much, $46 million over 2 years. It was reports were that he wanted over $20 million a year to stay on the West Coast. Pay him $20 million and $50. Like, he didn't have a good season last year. You got to prove yourself. So yeah, is it that much of an upgrade on Cooper Kupp, who looks to be heading out the door?
He is.
We'll have to wait and see.
They cut him today.
Yeah. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he actually goes with Stafford.
They could technically still re-sign Cooper Kupp as well.
That's true. They could, yeah.
The funny thing about cutting someone is you can still re-sign them for a lot less.
Okay.
Yeah, mate. I don't know about the Devontae one. I think he'll do well. I think I like that he hasn't automatically tied himself to Aaron Rodgers again.
Yes.
I like that for Devontae Adams. That
yes.
It's like, mate, you need to get out from that thing and that idea. You don't know what Aaron's going to do, and nobody knows what Aaron's going to do or how he's going to play. You need to be your own person, because this guy, Devontae Adams, could legitimately be a future Hall of Famer. And you don't want to spoil your legacy by following that aging prick around. And having bad seasons, because that's pretty much what he ended up with at the Jets. Like,
he's always been.
Yeah.
Sorry, he's always been tied to a QB. So he went to Las Vegas to play with Carr, and then when Las Vegas were going to move on from him, he was tied to the Saints because Carr was there. It's just like, go somewhere where you don't have a relationship with the QB and see what happens, and which he's done.
Yeah, I think you're right about the contract. What's that, 46 mil? So, like 23 per
23, year. Yeah.
It's good money. It's really good money for a wide receiver. It's good for a wide receiver too, yeah. That's right.
Look,
he could be fringe one. Like, if he's still got it with a decent offense around him, which he could do. We don't know. We haven't seen him with a decent offense in years, so you don't know what he actually has anymore. But, like him and Nakua could be up there together, in partnership. It could be that way. But of course,
that's what you hope for, isn't it? They're up there, and Tutu Atwell has shown promise when Nakua and Kupp were out last year at the start of the season, so he re-signed as well. So they've got a pretty good wide receiver room there.
Yep. QB wise, Stafford restructured his contract after all the talk about Stafford going somewhere else and shopping himself around, and then his wife gets on her podcast and says, "I don't know if we're only one play away from being in the Super Bowl or championship and stuff," which basically told the world that she was telling Matthew, "We're staying in LA, moving from LA."
Well, she wants to stay in LA. Like, she's a Hollywood girl, so it's like, all right, well, you're staying.
So what are you doing,
thank you.
Matthew?
Yeah,
no,
that's
mate,
right.
Yeah.
Do you want to go play for the Giants? Not really.
You can be a superstar NFL quarterback all you want, but when your wife says we're staying here and this is what we're doing, that's what you're doing. You've got this.
Yeah. You think she's going to leave LA and go to Cleveland? I mean, no.
Yeah. So it's just like it's the same. He's the same as all of us. They're all the same as all of us.
Yeah.
When your mum or your wife tells you to do something, you're damn well doing it. You got no.
Absolutely. It'd be like me leaving Brisbane and going to Ballarat or something. It's
nothing wrong with Ballarat, mate.
Oh, well, nothing right with it either, but
no cyclones in Ballarat. I guarantee you that.
I'll freeze my tits off, but yeah,
because there's nothing in Ballarat. The cyclones don't even want to go there.
Yeah.
Oh mate,
you
you could have a great life in Ballarat, Brad. You don't know that.
Oh, those regional towns. It's absolutely. The one I like is the Puna Ford, the defensive tackle signing. I think that's a good one for the Rams. Again, it's just the highlights the you know defensive tackles are a premium. They're the quarterbacks of the on the defense in the sense of how highly they're valued. So and he's not flashy, but he had a decent year for San Diego. Sorry, San Diego, the Chargers.
It's all right, mate. We both still know who you mean when you say San Diego these days.
For the Chargers. So I really like that pick. Maybe it's just because I like saying Puna. Give me some Puna.
Some Puna and Puka.
Yeah,
Puna and Puka.
yeah, exactly. Poo poo, poo poo.
What about you, Ian? What stood out?
As if we haven't missed this.
Yeah.
Mate, I'm going to be like you. I'm going to stick with my own team. Vikings and the whole defensive line, and basically the whole defense. It's just it's insane. It took a day, and Vikings fans were ready to slit their wrists, and we're calling for Kwesi's head, and he's not going to do anything. He's not going to do anything, and he shouldn't be there, and he makes all these bad decisions, and his draft picks are crap. That's still the narrative that keeps going on, that apparently all of his draft picks are bad. But yet, here we are, day 2 of free agency, and the Vikings signed Jonathan Allen. We ended up with Will Fries on the offensive line. I think that's a great move. Isaiah Rodgers for the steal, 2 years, $15 million for a quality cornerback. Javon Hargrave was, I think it's a $30 million deal. I mean, it might be a couple of years as well. So, I absolutely love that whole thing, and I really wanted to see Sam Darnold re-sign with the Vikings. I really wanted that, but when I saw the price that he fetched in Seattle eventually, and once I saw the Geno trade to the Raiders, from Seattle to the Raiders, I went straight away. I knew as a logical thinking person, Seattle are going to go hard for Sam Darnold because he fits the mold.
Yeah.
And they went hard for him, and it's like his deal is $33 million a year. Great. Well done, Sam. That's not what I would have said. Like, I was wanting the Vikings to sort of go give him like a 2-year deal. And a bit more of a 2-year prove it again, I guess. Bring it back to, always kind of knew that the plan for 2024 was supposed to be Sam Darnold for a year. He starts for the first half of the season. JJ McCarthy gets settled in, and then we just move on to McCarthy time, right? And that's what it was going to be. McCarthy gets injured in preseason. We have to stick with Sam Darnold. Darnold gets on an absolute heater in an offense that absolutely fits him to a T, with a coach who knows how to maximize his potential, has a hell of a year, has 2 bad games at the very worst time of the year, and we're done, and everyone's calling for his head because telling him he's still seeing ghosts or he's a terrible quarterback, which he isn't, because he still won 14 games and played exceptionally in at least 12 of those, and then just did enough in the other 2 to game manage. So, you still won 14 games. You played really badly in 2, as I said, at the worst time of year. But I would have liked to see him come on for another 2 and maybe kind of do the same thing. Half a year while McCarthy gets settled, or whatever it is, 4 or 5 games till McCarthy gets settled. And then if he played really well, Vikings probably would have had a decent asset, like a decent bit of equity in him to say we can trade him to somewhere and get something back for that, because there'll be QB needing teams by week 5 for sure. So, and we could have done that. But once they moved on from him and Sam signed at Seattle, I was just like, this is great. It's McCarthy time. And you can see in the Vikings front office, in their heads, that's what's happened. Straight away, it's like, they obviously had a plan on defense already because they were going hard after these guys straight away. And then were gone, and what the one other thing other than the bad defensive line that we had last year was an inadequate offensive line. They weren't consistent, and they've gone and bulked that offensive line up straight away to protect the quarterback, and you're protecting what is a second-year guy, like a rookie, essentially. He hasn't even played a snap in NFL football yet. So
well, they're smart doing that. They just they knew that in order to all you do is look at the that playoff game where Darnold just got mauled, and they had to protect the interior of that line. So I think getting bulking up, getting that what's his name, Freeze or whatever.
Fries
was a huge
Fries for that.
Fries. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah, no, Brad, yeah, it's absolutely great. And I just cannot believe this defense now, and I've been sort of toying with some graphic stuff to post up everywhere for some of the team defenses. But, we've got, like, Harrison Phillips in the center, Javon Hargrave, Jonathan Allen, either side. Byron Murphy Jr. is he's more of a nickelback, but, cornerback at the moment. Zay Rogers at cornerback. We've got Andrew Van Ginkel, Ivan Pace Jr., and Jonathan Grenard, all as, like, defensive ends, like edge rushers. You got Harrison Smith and Theo Jackson in the backfield. I'm just like, who is this defense? And, like, I just started. That's a top 3 defense in the NFL.
Absolutely.
Easily.
Well, it could be. Absolutely. Yeah. And they better finish top 10, which I think they will easily. But it's I like all their moves they're making. And again, this is a case of, okay, they got their rookie contract, and even though he hasn't really demonstrated anything, they've got a lot of belief in him, and they're obviously doing everything they can to open their window and make it now. I really like the Aaron Jones thing. I don't know how you feel about it. You know more than me.
Yeah.
But, I think that's a great.
I think it's a great re-signing.
Yeah.
Well, 2 years, $20 million. Like, you get that level of running back, and because he's still angry every time he gets on the field anyway. Like, he plays like that, so he's going to play like that for 2 years, and that level of running back for $10 million a year, like, yes please.
Yeah,
it's that production, yes please.
So what's your backup QB options? You got Ripien?
At the moment, Brett Rippin, Brett Rippin. So like, I don't know. It's at the moment backup QB, and I asked this question in the Vikings Australia group, like who you think would be a good option that's out there free agency wise as a backup to McCarthy. Straight away, I got answers from a few guys that do know me, and I think some of them do actually listen to the podcast a little bit. And I basically got Minshew Mania back from a few of them, and I was just like, This like day one jersey time for me. Like, Minshew gets signed, and I'm going on to custom jerseys, and I'm going to end up with. I'll be sitting here talking to you guys in a custom Minshew Vikings jersey. It's just the way it's going to be. Like, it would just be amazing. I wouldn't shut up about it for the entire year, to be honest. Other than that, mate, like.
So McCarthy's ready for round 1.
That's what they're saying. He was ahead of schedule. On his rehab at the end of last season. Like, they had him out running and throwing during playoffs, basically. Like, he was on practice fields. So, and they were saying he was ahead of schedule. There was a point where he had to have a second surgery to, I don't know what it was. It might have been a clean out. It might have been cartilage thing. They're just doing it while they can. But apparently it was related to the injury, but yeah, so he had a second one, but they said that he's ahead, and they have a belief in him, and they think he's going to be the it guy. But like,
you think about it though, they've got to bring in a veteran presence quarterback in there. So who's left? I mean, who? Because Mac Jones is obviously re-signed. Congratulations, 49ers. You're going to the Super Bowl.
Manjot's favorite signing of the free agency so far.
So Mac Jones is gone. Carson Wentz, he's out there. I don't know if that's...
Aaron Rodgers? Anyone?
Well...
The Rodgers thing, I get what people do, where they go...
Yeah.
Like, Rodgers, the Brett Favre.
Rodgers, Favre,
Rodgers. And it's not... It's not logical. It's not a logical move because if you believe in McCarthy, there's no point bringing Aaron Rodgers in because Aaron Rodgers is not someone to come in and mentor and back up a rookie quarterback. He's just not. You're talking about Hall of Famer Aaron Rodgers. You're talking about a guy that can still one of the best passes of the football we've ever seen, and he can still pass the football that well. He can't move. He's a fucking statue on a field, but he can still pass the ball. But
he's going to Pittsburgh, right?
That level of ego doesn't end up as a backup quarterback.
No, he doesn't.
No, he just when he is done, when he doesn't get a starting job again, he will retire. That's pretty much what he won't. He's not going to go the route of some of the other guys and back up someone for a year. It's just not going to happen.
Okay.
And you don't bring that in because you would undermine what you believe in McCarthy. I feel
absolutely. And I think it would be pretty toxic or give him bad habits, in my opinion. So then going back to who else you got? You got Joe Flacco.
Who's still out there, Brad? Is the big question actually.
Let me just
go ahead.
So I've got two, right? What happened?
I really want to know what you're going to try and
shoehorn in here.
Let's see what happens with Kirk Cousins over in Atlanta. If he gets cut, would he go back?
Well,
that was one that I think maybe.
It's a genuine possibility that is a maybe because
why wouldn't the Vikings do it?
You're going to pick him up incredibly cheap.
Well, I think the Vikings would do it, but I don't think Atlanta would cut him away that cheap.
Well, they save money doing it if they cut him.
Do they?
Yeah, but I think there's a date out there, the 10th of something. If they cut him by then, they save money.
Okay.
And
they might
the other one, they've got Penix as a starter there. He could be a backup there, but
no,
I doubt it. I think
they'll go with Penix this year.
Yeah, but I mean, he'll be a backup, but will they keep him on? I don't know. I don't think it's going to be wise. The other one I've got there has Jameis Winston signed anywhere?
No. And I would be, it'll be day one jersey. Oh.
Yeah. So you got Minshew or Winston. Oh.
Yep. Just give me either. Just give me either.
Both will just sling it.
I would pay money to Winston just to hear his pregame speeches. It'd be all fire and brimstone. He'd be throwing Bibles at people.
And I think just his presence just there would be he's just uplifting. I think is probably the best word to go with. So
absolutely, it would be perfect for McCarthy.
Yeah.
And it's in a dome, so it would suit Winston, I think, better.
So I'm just running through a bit of just having a look at the best quarterback free agents that are still left out there. So you got Jameis Winston right up the top there. Who else have we got?
Russell Wilson.
Oh yeah, Mr. Unlimited's there.
I don't think they do that.
But I think that's as silly as
Mr. Unlimited.
I think that's as silly as the Aaron Rodgers thought. Gardner, Drew Lock. I didn't realize Drew Lock was a free agent.
You're not
Could be. Mason Rudolph. Nah, he wouldn't fit a scheme. Cooper Rush.
Trey Lance is there.
Trey Lance. Oh, goodness me. No. Please, no.
But you know who is it? You know who is... Oh, here's another interesting ex-Viking quarterback. Case Keenum.
Case Keenum, yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Taylor Heineke.
Cooper Rush. Oof.
I think Taylor Heineke gives you a bit of an upside.
I could see Heineke. I think Rush is going back to the Cowboys. I don't...
What about zip on the ball, Zappy?
Here we go. This one's for Matty C. CJ Beathard.
Yeah, he's still listed as a free agent. It's so good.
I love it. That's like Colin Kaepernick is still a free agent. Yeah.
Teddy Bridgewater.
Is he? He's a free agent?
Yeah.
I'm surprised he hasn't been signed.
I know. Mike White. Wasn't Mike White signed or was he dropped?
Dropped, I think.
He was dropped, yeah.
Mike White would be all right too, I think. Anyway, there's some options. Give me Jameis or Gardner. Either one of those guys is going to be an absolute force in the locker room. Both of those guys would be the most positive people in it. Could you imagine? Give me a team with Gardner Minshew and Jameis Winston. Like, you can't tell me everybody wouldn't want to be a fan of that team. Just listening to that, just sitting in on that quarterback room, or just that offensive, that offensive meeting every single week. It'd be glorious, wouldn't it?
One of them has a direct line to Jesus. The other one looks like Jesus. I mean, it's just, it would be amazing.
Let's talk. You mentioned it a little bit in there, boys. And it of course, like, Manjot went into tailspins today. He went from when the news that Mac Jones had signed with the Niners was announced. The text thread was amazing. It went from fuck me, and because Manjot has talked, there is easily 90 hours worth of tape and just videos and stuff that he has made and done in the last couple of years about how bad Mac Jones is, and now he is a 49er. And then he, of course, totally backflipped on us and just tried to rationalise it, which was hilarious in our group chat. But Kyle Shanahan had a massive thing in 2021 for Mac Jones. Reportedly, that's who he wanted to pick in 2021. That's the QB he wanted.
Yeah, that's right.
And they were talked out of course, and they went with Trey Lance, and that whole scenario went. 4 years on, here we are. Kyle Shanahan finally has Mac Jones in the San Francisco building. Of course, he's going to back up Brock Purdy. Like, no one's that big of an idiot. But what is this? Like, does this signal some kind of QB controversy, considering how in love with Mac Jones Kyle Shanahan was?
I don't think so. I think Mac Jones has done the right thing and gone to an organisation that looks after the QBs and the backups. Sam Darnold was there. He's going to learn. He's going to learn from a good offensive mind in Shanahan. I think he's done the right thing. He may even look to do the Sam Darnold path and go to a team next year and see if he can get a good contract.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think this you hit the nail on the head. It goes back to the whole, you want to be where you're wanted. Mac Jones knows that what Shanahan felt about him, and that he would be wanted there. And exactly what you said, he saw what Darnold did, resurrected his career. So I think the exact same thing is going to happen, and it'll be good for his psyche. Just get a year or two under his belt and under that system, and as long as he's doing everything right, Shanahan will obviously put in a good word for him, and he'll get picked up somewhere else. So, because he did. The one thing is he didn't look good in the Jags. So he had a losing record with the Jags. I think he only won 2 games. So,
I think everyone's had losing records with the Jags, haven't they?
Well said. Take that, Matty C.
Let's talk about some other QBs while we're here, shall we? So
There's
been a few QB signings. Yeah. We talked about Sam Darnold a bit. Sam Darnold of the Seahawks. You two got initial thoughts on that? Like I gave my thoughts. Sam Darnold Seahawks on a 3-year, $100.5 million contract.
I like it.
I don't mind it. I'm a Geno Smith fan, so I personally think it's a downgrade, not a huge one, but if you're gonna replace him, I think it's he's younger and he's definitely got a more talented arm.
Costs less too. That's his contract is less than what they offered Geno.
Yeah, so there you go. So I mean, I get it from Seattle's perspective. I totally get it, and they seem committed to building up their line. So it makes sense.
It helps JSN too.
Yeah,
Darnold with the good arm. I think he's really going to take a jump this season. JSN.
If they can get a decent number 2, I know they just signed. Who is it? Who's the other receiver? Is it Valdez-Scantling? I think they made.
Yeah, they signed MVS. MVS is going to get time up there when it's just him and it's JSN. We've got JSN, MVS, so we're going for anagrams. So we definitely want, we need a wide receiver in the draft that's got a 3-barrel name that we can just use all of the letters from as well.
Yes.
So the draft really is full of wide receiver 2 and 3s too. They've
got pick 18, so
there's no real out and out wide receiver 1 in this draft either. There's a couple, but apart from those guys, the fall off is massive. So there's a lot of wide receiver 2, 3s. So it's one of those years. So yeah, they need someone else. They pick someone else up.
What about? Sorry, I don't know if you want to stick with it, we can. But I was going to say,
sidetrack us, Brad. Go for it.
Jump over Daniel Jones. Going to Indianapolis.
So DJ to the Colts on a 1 year, $14 million contract. So they have said they've openly said that this is a QB competition now.
Yeah.
It tells me that they don't believe that Anthony Richardson could be all that they thought that he could be, and that the way he plays is fine, because we all saw that. The talent is there, but then there's questions about his commitment to.
Yeah, I got to tap out and take a couple plays off because I'm tired. So it's all that kind of stuff, and I think. If I'm the coaching staff, you want Richardson to win the job, because otherwise you're going to get fired, basically. Because this was a GM decision to bring in Jones. This wasn't a coaching thing. So we'll see how it goes. Obviously, they want to create a competition and see the cream rise to the top.
Well, if you're a secondary free agent, you go into their division, aren't you? Surely. Because you are just going to be getting picks left, right, and centre.
Yeah.
Right, there's your QB controversy. I don't know who starts. I think Anthony Richardson starts week 1, but if he's going poor by week 3, he's gone.
Either way, this is for Daniel Jones. This is the best probably coaching scheme that he's had in years. The best O-line that he'll be behind in years. And I probably, apart from one guy, like for the few amount of times that he did play last year with the Giants, the best wide receiver sort of skill position group that he's going to be around in years.
Yeah.
So it's a total upside for Daniel Jones. And $14 million contract, well done. It's still a prove it deal, but I don't know. I generally believe he'll do better than he was doing at the Giants.
He's good. He's got a damn good agent.
Yeah, 100% he does.
$14 million for technically a backup quarterback is unreal.
I do love that when the late round compensatory picks come out, that the Vikings are going to get a compensatory pick because of Daniel Jones now too.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because we put him on the active roster for a game late in the season, week 18.
Okay.
And then he gets signed as a free agent. He gets signed by another team.
Yeah,
so
you have
he gets given a contract, so then we'll get a compensatory pick.
Wow, it'll probably be whatever, a 7th rounder, but
it doesn't matter because we only had 3 picks to start with now anyway, and then we got one. We got a 3rd rounder compensatory because of Kirk Cousins this year.
Right. Yep.
So great, wonderful. We got a 3rd round pick, which we didn't have before because we only had like a 5th and a 6th anyway.
Oh, jeez.
The Jets.
Gino?
How about the Jets? The Jets are still searching for their replacement for Joe Namath. And they signed Justin Fields to a 2-year, $40 million contract.
Yeah.
I like this.
It.
I like Justin Fields.
Yeah.
I thought he played really well last year.
So do I.
Yeah. No, I think it's it'll be good. It'll be exciting. It'll be fun to watch. It comes down to, I think, can he? I thought Pittsburgh was a perfect fit for him personally, just with Tomlin and his that type of style, the run first style. So if they allow him to just be balanced. If they don't ask him to do everything, then I think he could have some success. But if they say, like, if they try and treat it like Chicago, where they put everything on his shoulders, I don't think it'll turn out that great.
I like it. The Jets getting a mobile quarterback after having Aaron Rodgers in there.
The opposite. Yeah.
He reunites with Garrett Wilson, the old Ohio State connection. So you may see that connection come back into fruition there.
Yeah. No,
I think he'll do well there. I think the Jets might actually do something.
I hope he does well. I like Justin Fields. He just went to two organisations that, the Bears and the Steelers, who really wanted Russ there.
Yeah, and they did. That was pretty clear that they wanted Russ.
Yeah. There's a lot of backups signed. A lot of backups around the traps. Marcus Mariota re-signed with the Commanders. Jake Brisket went to the Cardinals on a 2-year deal.
Josh Dobbs.
Jarrett Stidham to the Broncos. Yep, Josh Dobbs with the Patriots. 2-year, $8 million contract for the spaceman Josh Dobbs.
Man, that guy's been around everywhere, it seems like.
I know. He doesn't mind. As long as someone's going to pay him more than NASA pays him, he's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Zach Wilson to the Dolphins on a 1-year, $6 million contract.
Lock up the mothers down in Miami, baby.
Yeah.
Imagine all those housewives.
I think that is significant for Zach Wilson because we know he's backing up Tua, so we know he's going to play at least 6 to 8 games at some point in the season.
Or more, yeah. One concussion away. Hopefully, it's one concussion away from retirement. Mandatory retirement, it should be, for Tua.
I think for Zach Wilson, though, being under Mike McDaniel, I think that'll help him.
Absolutely.
This is a guy that really wants to believe the best in somebody and get the most out of them. And I think if he can't succeed with the Dolphins, then it's not going to be good for Zach Wilson anywhere, to be honest.
Yeah, agreed.
The Panthers kept Andy Dalton paired up with Bryce Young. He got another 2 years at the Panthers. Apparently that relationship works out really well for both.
Are we going to mention the Geno trade to the Raiders? You want to go into that?
Yeah, right.
Why not?
Right.
Yeah, Geno to the Raiders.
Yeah, I think that's just a win now mode. Reuniting with Pete Carroll. So I like it, but again, I probably would have preferred he would have stayed in Seattle just from a pure success standpoint. But I'm sorry, Ian, but it's definitely an upgrade, I think, over Minshew.
Look, I'm not disagreeing there. It's definitely an upgrade over Minshew, and it'll do something. I think it's interesting that there's a few guys that Pete Carroll's sort of coached before that he's sort of targeted. Though the Raiders have gone out and targeted, so that's been interesting.
Yeah.
To bring a few of those guys back to the fold. I loved that the first thing that happened for the Raiders though was re-signing Max Crosby to a massive contract.
Yeah.
Yes.
So good.
To give Max Crosby 3 years, $106.5 million was just outstanding. That guy is the absolute heart and soul of that team right now. Like he is, you can't think about the Raiders without thinking about Max Crosby. You can't think about Max Crosby without thinking about the Raiders, basically. So he's what makes up that team. So keeping him happy, keeping him there, keeping him in the building. I think that's a brilliant move. Better than any quarterback they could have signed, to be honest.
The only thing I worry about is he's only got one person to throw to, and that's Brock Bowers. The rest, Jacoby Myers, Trey Tucker.
If Myers pulls his head out, I think he could be good. But yeah, you're right. It's what are they going to go? 12 personnel every play to 2 tight ends. So
it's Brock Bowers' season for the whole year. That's
yeah.
Where are they in the draft, by the way, Isaac?
I think they're 6.
Yeah, I would expect them to go for the top wide receivers then. They'd be looking at those guys in that draft.
Yeah, I'd be looking at them trying to move up to get Travis Hunter.
Okay, okay. I could see that.
Because they definitely need a wide receiver.
Oh, yeah, for sure they need a wide receiver. I just think that the price, unless it's Hunter, I would not take a wide receiver at 6 unless it's Hunter.
No.
Unless, other options that they've got out there right now would be like Cooper Kupp or Amari Cooper, Stephon Diggs,
yeah.
Keenan Allen, Deontay Johnson, yeah.
Well, and Carroll's shown that he wants a veteran team. So I think in my opinion, they're going to be the dark horse for the biggest improvement, just in terms of total wins. I think it'll be temporary, but I think they'll get a massive jump.
Yeah, so there's a few decent wide receivers still out there. So they probably could pick up one of these guys in free agency. I don't know whether they'd go hard enough for Cooper Kupp, but that'd certainly be an interesting thing. Geno Smith to Cooper Kupp, it could work.
Yeah.
He's kind of hard-nosed player that Pete Carroll would like, I think.
Absolutely.
Tyler Lockett's still out there, Mr. Pete Carroll.
He is. Tyler Lockett is out there, actually. Yeah. That is very right.
You're right.
So, it could be that. I don't know whether anyone's going to pick up Stephon Diggs, to be honest. I think Stephon proves that he comes with baggage these days.
Yeah, exactly. Amari Cooper, he's out there still. And he started with Vegas. Well, when they were with the Raiders. So
very, very long time ago.
Yeah,
definitely did.
Because Dallas traded the first-round pick for him.
All right, boys. Anything else that really stood out to you free agency wise? We'll
yeah, I've got one.
Else at all?
Evan Ingram to the Broncos, great pickup. I really like what the Broncos have done in this free agency period. They've pretty much got the 49ers defense over there. So yeah, I like what they're doing.
Yes, they do. That's exactly right. Just a little bit older. They're a team that, again, I don't want to start getting into team analysis here, but they're a team that I think is going to take potentially another step in the right direction. So yeah, I would agree with you. That defense is looking salty.
I'll mention it. DK Metcalf to the Steelers. Interesting pickup by the Steelers to have DK Metcalf and George Pickens in the one wide receiver room is going to be very interesting. But who the hell is throwing to them? I mean, the talk has been it's going to be Aaron Rodgers at the moment, that they're going all in for Aaron Rodgers. And basically the backup plan is to bring Russ back.
Yeah.
They just need to bring back Antonio Brown, and then that would be the best wide receiver room ever.
Give him Bell as well for a little running back action as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if Mike Tomlin can handle one team with Aaron Rodgers, DK Metcalf, and George Pickens.
Oh my goodness, could you imagine? Oh.
Well, he did it. He did it with Big Ben and Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell.
There's no way Big Ben was as much of a problem as Aaron Rodgers.
No. Ben turned after that whole. I hate talking about it, but after that whole rape thing with Big Ben, he turned his life around, and he actually turned into a decent dude.
There was it's quite a funny video from Big Ben after they announced the DK Metcalf signing.
Yes,
really?
Yeah, he got on there like with his helmet on. He's just looking at the camera. And he's like, "Oh man, DK Metcalf, GP." He goes, "I might have to start throwing some balls. I might be available. Let's go, boys. Let's go. Do we need someone to throw? Who's throwing to him?" It was hilarious. Big Ben basically gets on his podcast. He's having a time of his life. Awesome. But yeah, what are we thinking? Aaron Rodgers? Sounds like it's going to be that way.
I think it's $1 that Aaron Rodgers is playing in Pittsburgh next year.
My only problem with the Aaron Rodgers thing right now is that some people have said that it could be anywhere up to 4 weeks until he makes that decision. Like Aaron Rodgers just totally making free agency about himself again.
Shock horror. What a fucking knob.
If I'm Pittsburgh... I like how you were direct with that. If I'm Pittsburgh, I don't put up with that. I say we need a decision, right away. But Rodgers holds all the cards, so unless they have like some gentleman's agreement with Russ that, at least let us know before you sign somewhere else type thing.
Well, Russ is jetting off to the Browns tomorrow or something, I think.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And then he's got scheduled visit with the Giants, so he might be pushing the envelope now too.
Yeah. Oh, to the Giants. Jeez.
Poor Malik Neighbors.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, poor Malik Davis. Brad,
All right.
one last thing before we leave.
Yeah.
Before we pack it up. I mean, we haven't even mentioned the Cowboys that much. Brad, did you know?
Well,
Did you know the Cowboys have not signed a free agent over $6 million per year in free agency since Greg Hardy in 2015?
Oh, the illustrious Greg Hardy, MMA fighter.
And the salary cap, Brad, has increased by $130 million since then. And Jerry Jones, mate, he just continues to pocket all that cash.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. It's I actually they were more active than they were last year. So from that standpoint, but that's a pretty low bar. So I like what they've done. Jerry loves to try and do these reclamation projects, and that's what they've done. Is you saw it. You see it all the time with him, but he brings in Trey Lance last year, and they've got I think they went out and they've traded this season now for 2 or 3 former first round picks. So they're just basically, I think Jerry being the idiot that he is, thinks that that I can bring these guys in and they'll turn their lives around and they'll turn into great picks and stuff. It's never worked. So I don't know why, because they've done it previously. They've done it like about 3 or 4 times and it's never panned out. So I don't know why this is going to be any different. But he loves doing that. Just trying giving guys 2nd, 3rd, 4th chances.
Brad, as a Cowboys fan, what did you think of letting Rico Dowdle go?
I wasn't too bad about that because I really liked Javonte Williams from Denver. So bringing Williams in, it's kind of like a 1A and a 1B, or actually it's more like a 2A and a 2B because they're not really, neither one of them are that great at running backs, but they're serviceable. I mean, Dowdle got almost 1,000 yards, or did get 1,000 yards. So I just think you're just basically trading one running back for the other. It's tomato. I don't think it's that big of a deal. But the big one was re-signing Odigizua.
Odigizua, Brad. Osa Odigizua. I've been practicing that for you.
Well done to you. Wow. That was huge. Like if they didn't make that happen, then forget it. Blow the whole thing up because they still need defensive tackle help. Because they haven't gotten anything from their former first-round pick, Mozzie Smith, 2 years ago. He's been a big disappointment. So
but he's into it, or
we'll
else.
see. I like bringing back Kevontae Turpin.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not going to go through all the names of them, but it's at the end of the day, it's Jerry being Jerry. They're going to win 7 to 9 games this next season, and they'll be right back in the same spot. So I'm just waiting until he dies. That's all. Sorry.
Poor Jerry, or not so poor Jerry.
Yeah, no, it's exactly. Oh, that whole family, man, they are rich as snot. It's unreal.
It is. All right, boys, great talk today. That's a bunch of free agency stuff for you. Just our thoughts on what's gone on around the league so far in this free agency period. So we are officially back for the 2025 season. So we will be back with you on all of your favorite podcast apps in every week. So you'll hear from us every Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, depending on what's going on around the league. Just anything big happens, we might pop in from time to time, something quick, but you'll hear from us just every week, basically from here on out. Look out for few weeks' time, of course, we are coming up to the draft. We have a few big special shows coming at you. We will be doing a 2021 NFL draft review. Of course, every year we go back and we look at a draft from 4 years in history, 4 years ago in history, and review those players and sort of grade those players and see how they've gone as they're getting on with their first set of contracts. So we're doing that. That will proceed into the very next week into the 2025 G'day Gridiron Draft-a-Palooza. We've been doing this now for about 5 years, and we will be absolutely looking forward to this massive, massive show. Our draft show every year is huge. It's a very, very long one, but we aim to bring a whole bunch of entertainment and talk about the draft there. We discussed it earlier before we got online. We are going to do a first round draft review show, reaction show on Friday of the draft. So you'll hear that some point on Friday or Saturday. Or if I can figure out the internet and technology and my life well enough, you may see that live on Friday afternoon, Friday evening on YouTube. We may do our very first live show as our first round draft reaction show. So,
awesome.
So look out for that. And of course, then moving forward, we have a whole bunch of other off-season content as we move through. Just some fun stuff, just to bring you some entertainment as we move forward into the NFL season. And of course, you'll be able to hear stuff coming up from Manjot on Pastry Press NFL. Our boys, Taylor and Maddie, will be back around draft time, as they always are, with the Aussie NFL fantasy show and everything draft related and sort of those big draft pick relations and how that relates to fantasy and the fantasy game and all that fun stuff. So you'll hear from those boys as well. If you want to follow anything on the Aussie Gridiron Network, then we encourage you to go to our linktree/Aussie Gridiron Network, where you will find every episode ever of all of our shows, links to our socials, Manjot's YouTube, Pastry Press NFL, and a whole lot of other fun stuff. So please go and check all that out and have a good time there. So on behalf of myself, Brad, and Isaac, thank you very much for joining us, and we will see you next week. See ya.
See ya.